Hi everybody and welcome to the Colors of Gaming. I'm Red.
And I'm Orange.
And today we're going to talk about Super Hot. Now Orange, I know that you've wanted to play this game for a while. What made you so interested in this game?
Well, it came out a couple years ago, and since then I've been seeing a lot of discussion of it online, GIFs posted of the gameplay, and then it got its VR re-release. So I've seen it enough to want to play it, besides the fact that it looks like an entertaining shooter.
I think the thing that most people are really drawn into about this game is that if you haven't played it yet, if you don't know about it for whatever reason, this game is almost the complete opposite of what you would think of when you're thinking of what a shooter should be. If you stand still, time stands still, and if you move, the enemies can move. So therefore, you don't want to be running as fast as you can like you would in a Doom or like a Call of Duty or something. This is a very different type of experience, wouldn't you say so?
Yeah, it's like a slow motion bullet hell where you have control over how quickly the bullets get to you, which slow motion and fast-paced action doesn't quite make sense, but when you mix these two together in the way that they have, there's enough to do where you're picking up weapons and shooting at enemies all around you in 360 degrees. It's definitely there.
It feels good.
Yeah, it feels good.
It can be satisfying watching it happen, because right after you go through one of these levels, you see a replay of it that says super hot, over and over and over again. And you can go into an editing mode and get rid of that. I would say that that's probably the optimal way to watch your replay.
Yeah, it seems that they want it that way too. You have a direct share button, at least on the PS4. You can share that clip almost instantly.
I was not the biggest fan of the super hot flashing, and I hated hearing the word super hot over and over again. I thought it was incredibly annoying. What did you think of the visuals?
Pretty basic, more or less minimalistic. They get the point across well enough though.
I would agree. I think that that's one thing that makes this stand out from other shooters, other things in the genre, is just how weird that the visuals are. You just have these little red guys that are running around and just a plain white background. It's kind of cool.
Just feels like a proof of concept, rudimentary artwork, just to show you that they can do what they want to do.
In order for us to really get into how we feel about this game, I think we have to just go straight into spoiler territory, unfortunately. But for those of you who haven't played it, what would you say, Orange? Would you say to go out and get this game?
Yeah, get it on a sale. $20 is a pretty fair price for maybe the hour and a half or 2 hours you'll spend playing this game, but if you get on a sale, you may be happier with your purchase.
Personally, I think that just do a lot of research before you buy this one. Don't go in expecting a shooter. If it seems like something that would appeal to you, check it out and then come back to this review and listen to us. With that said, let's go into it. All right, what did you think of Super Hot in general?
In general, I had fun with it, but I was let down.
Why were you let down?
Because it's not what I was expecting. I guess what I had seen online showed me a sort of sandbox shooter game, but once I started playing, I realized I was getting more of a shooter puzzle game, and in between that, a lot of cutscenes, a lot more dialogue that I was reading than I thought I'd be reading, so it didn't really hinder my gameplay, but it didn't make it any better.
That's one thing that I kind of want to talk about, and I haven't really shared my opinions on this yet. I don't like this game. I'm just gonna go out and say it.
You didn't have fun at all? Like
I didn't enjoy
not with
it.
like the Neo kind of Matrix stuff going on?
No, I didn't find it fun, and I didn't think of it as like a puzzle either, personally. I just didn't enjoy it. It felt like a lot of trial and error over and over and over again. It's like I would die just to find out that a guy spawned behind me, so that I could do it again, but know that he's going to spawn behind me and then realize there's a guy to my left this time and then die and then find him. I don't find that fun.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. If you want to do some sort of mastery, you would go through the whole game without dying. Like that would kind of be the optimal mastery path, but I felt that dying was part of the gameplay, and I actually enjoyed that a little bit.
So you liked the stop and go?
Yeah, at least where I would kill these guys in an area and another one would pop out and get the best of me. I actually had fun doing that again, because then my next playthrough I could prepare for that guy coming around the corner. And if I did succeed at that, the replay would look a lot cooler, seeing me go through and pre-fire all these corners and get these guys down before I even see them. It looks kind of like a Matrix replay. I had a lot of fun kind of getting those down to a T.
I do think that the replays are really cool when you have that stupid fucking super hot filter taken off of them. I really like that. My only issue, I think, with the replays in general, even with the super hot off, is that they don't have any music. There's There's not really sound.
Yeah, no sound.
To me, it just deflates the excitement out of seeing a badass kill a bunch of people.
Some of the movements and the things that you can do in the game, like punch a guy and take his gun out of midair and execute him on the spot, those are really cool because it's happening in slow motion, but you've also got that really loud crack of a shotgun or that nice, like, meat slap of a punch. So it kind of sucks when you go back into normal speed and you rewatch your previous run through. It sucks that it has no noise. It's like watching a GIF. Kind of steals away from what you just did, but it's a good presentation anyways to see it at its normal speed.
I think that it's pretty cool. One thing that I really, really, really hated about this game was the writing. I could not handle it. I can't tell if it's a joke or not.
I felt there was a point with the writing where it got a little meta. I mean, that was obvious from the beginning. It wants to get meta when it's telling you, like, you're not in control, I'm not in control. I thought that was kind of a joke, but then it seemed like they doubled down on that and was like, now you've got to kill yourself. And you go kill yourself, and they're like, good job, you can keep playing the game. And then I was like, what are they trying to tell me? Like, I get what they're trying to tell me, but it's not very funny or clever. It's not smart.
I felt like it was a bunch of people in a writing room that were farting all over each other, just going, oh my God, that smells so good. I'm just sitting here like, I don't understand this. I don't understand. Is this funny? Is it smart? What are you trying to do here?
Just a lot of pointless dialogue. I also thought it was funny that if you're playing with a controller, you're hitting the left and right triggers over and over again, and that's typing a sentence out on the keyboard. And that level of engagement for me it kind of feels like it's mocking the player, It's like, oh yeah, we're letting you talk, see? And then you're not talking. You're just typing. So there's really just no choice. They don't need to do that kind of stuff, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
I don't understand why you would do that when pressing the X button works better.
Yeah.
Just for me as a concept, maybe that's my problem. Is just as a concept, I don't like Super Hot because watching the replays for me, the only thoughts that could go through my head were, I wish I was playing that game.
Yeah. I even pointed out while we were playing and you rewatch these replays, they happen so quick that it's like, wow, that looked like Counter-Strike. And then it got me thinking, yeah, it's a little more satisfying in Counter-Strike. Because it's harder. When you get that double headshot, it was harder. So it's a cool concept for me. I do enjoy the slow motion and fast at the same time kind of gameplay. I feel like it's in the vein of a Max Payne shootout.
I could totally see that, and that's my other gripe with this game is that it's trying to be like super innovative, but we've seen this in other games.
Yeah.
And it's done better, and it's just a part of the game.
If you remember, they wrote in that their game was like this new crazy concept game, or how did they phrase it?
At the very end, they say, contact your friends.
Yeah.
And tell them that this is the most innovative shooter I've ever played. And I don't know how you feel about that, but that legit pissed me off.
Yeah, that's where I'm saying I don't know if they were fucking with me or if that was serious. If it was tongue in cheek, like that's pretty funny, but I don't think it was.
I don't either. And it's even worse because you see critics online using those lines.
Yeah.
So is it
kind of masturbating with the game?
Let's just all jack off together, right?
Yeah.
Big old circle jerk. And the worst part is, to me, is because critics are using this. Consumers don't fucking know it's a joke. They haven't played the game yet.
Yeah, maybe it is a joke. You have to play the game, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Well, I don't know. I found it really frustrating, especially near the end.
Yeah, near the end, it gets a little frustrating. They start giving you more of these dialogue cut screens, which after having played No More Heroes, the game kind of takes the piss out of these moments. So, yeah.
And that's another thing that I think is really funny is that we decided to play No More Heroes, and then right after that, we jump into Super Hot. In my opinion, No More Heroes totally does meta right.
If you're gonna go meta and talk about your game, I think you kind of need to do it tongue-in-cheek. It comes off way too serious and Super Hot, and that gets annoying really fast. Mixed with not a lot of gameplay time before they give you the next dialogue. So you really haven't accomplished much before they get you to the next point. Everything shifts really quickly. So you're going from playing this game that your friend told you about to the next game that you are playing. Now you are taken over by the game and you're insane and it makes you mad. And it just kind of rings all the bells of like the mainstream video game narrative where these games are taking over your youth. It's kind of a weird thing for them to bring this up.
I don't know if there was really a message.
Possibly there was not.
Once again, just kind of a problem within the writing of this game because I don't know what it's trying to say. It definitely feels weird. It almost feels like they just had a bunch of levels that they didn't know what to do with, and then they hired 4 writers that didn't know what to do with it either.
Yeah, I feel like the game could have been presented in a different way, where at the end of a level there's a high score sheet and it shows you and your high scores and your friends' high scores, or your time and your friends' times, and you leave it at that and you play the next level.
Okay, with all of this said, so you would still recommend it?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. The concept of the game I enjoy. The writing and the storytelling I don't care for.
What type of person would you recommend this to?
I'd recommend it to pretty much any of my friends that have played or enjoy playing shooters, but even then, puzzle games or physics games, I'd recommend it to that crowd.
Yeah, while I was like super harsh on this and it is not my thing at all, I would definitely recommend it to somebody that wants like a slower paced experience, someone who I guess enjoys puzzles even though I don't really see this as a puzzly game. And I would recommend it to people that just kind of want to try something totally new that's just out there, right?
Something innovative.
I wouldn't say that, but just something different. It's kind of weird. It's a little different.
I like the game enough that I hope that they continue the concept and apply it maybe to a different setting.
This was another thing that I was curious about. I think the game is as long as it needs to be. I don't know what else you could do with this concept.
You make a good point. I don't know what else you could do with the concept, but I have ideas of what can be done using this concept. Maybe not a whole game where you're in bullet time essentially, but a portion of the game or an activated thing that you could do. I think the developers have a good idea of physics, ragdolls, picking up weapons, and a good flow for their game that they could apply this as a mechanic or something to other games. One thing that I was reminded of a lot while playing this was Dishonored, because just like in Dishonored, you can teleport around and slow down time and get behind your enemies and just make mincemeat out of them. And you can do the same thing in this game. So perhaps there's a concept out there like that, or perhaps someone will do what these guys have done like they have before.
That's another thing that I will say too that I haven't touched on yet is I really did like the idea of taking someone else's body. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like the possession in Dishonored.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was cool, and I do like the slow motion. In theory, it's just maybe not for 2 hours. I could handle it in like short bursts in between fast stuff.
It gets frustrating after a while.
With that said, if that sounds awesome to you, check it out. If it doesn't, maybe don't. If you've played it, let us know what you think in the comments. We really, really like seeing your guys' comments. Sometimes we get these huge paragraph essays, and everybody apologizes for them, but I love that. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, if you've got a lot to say, you should say all of it. I'll read it. Red reads it.
For sure. We really
Always leave
appreciate
these
it.
comments. These are great.
Yeah, so subscribe and hit that like button. Anyways, this is COG signing out.
Peace out.
Super.